The Crypt interviews in association with Mayo Leisure Point Castle Bar.
You're listening to The Crypt, and joining me now on the show is Gary Smart from Dead Mouse Productions to talk about their brand new documentary, You're So Cool, Brewster, the story of Fright Night. So it's great to have you back on the show, Gary.
Well, thanks for having me back.
Well, the last time you were on the show was to promote Leviathan, the story of Hellraiser and Hellbound Hellraiser 2. The making of that documentary must have been an amazing journey from start to finish, and you got such positive reviews.
Yeah, it was a long journey. I think it was about 3 years in the end. A long, stressful but rewarding journey.
Yeah, it's a fantastic documentary.
Oh yeah, thank you, I appreciate that.
Now, I recently interviewed Simon Bamford, aka Butcherball from Hellraiser, and he told me that I have to ask you where you got the name Dead Mouse Productions.
Oh God. Okay, I won't reveal which Hellraiser cast member is involved, but we went to visit somebody to do an interview, Chris, Adam and I, and we had to travel there quite a long way to go, and this person was really nice and pulled us up in their house. So we interviewed them on the evening and we stayed overnight, but me and Chris have the unfortunate habit of having to end up sharing a bed on most of these shoots. And it's normally tops and tails, so me and Chris did tops and tails. Adam was asleep on this kind of sofa, and then in the middle of the night I felt something against my face, and I just assumed it was Chris's big massive feet, because Chris has got massive hobbit feet. So I did, but he's a giant with hobbit feet. It's weird, but anyway. So I thought it was it was just him, and I couldn't I had a scratch on my face. Anyway, for anything of it, Chris got out of the bed and then kind of had a bit of a yelp. What's going on? Looked down. On the floor was a mouse.
Oh God!
But the mouse was literally as flat as a pancake, and I thought maybe it'd been there for a while and fell out or something. And then when we tried to get rid of it, it was still warm. So I'm assuming what happened is, in the middle of the night, it crawled on me, then Chris's massive feet crushed it. So So when we were trying to think about a name for the company, we were saying, what should we do? And we were originally called Screenings, which obviously is our kind of housing company, if you want to call it that. And obviously once for the documentaries, more the production side of things. And that's how Dead Mouse Productions came out. Chris killing a mouse.
What a story.
Yeah, I won't name whose house he was, but in fact they got mice running around.
Yeah, they won't want people to know that.
No.
So then, after making Leviathan, what made you decide on Fright Night as your next project?
Well, we had a few obviously ideas. I mean, we've talked before, you and I, about obviously our love for kind of 80s horror.
Yeah. So
we had a few ideas in our head we wanted to do. I mean, I'd already worked on Return of the Living Dead, on the book, and also the documentary. Now we've written a new book or amendment of the previous book, which is out in a few weeks' time.
Excellent.
And so that was a kind of out of the equation for obvious reasons. Nightmare on Elm Street was out of the equation. Friday the 13th, Halloween, they've all been done.
Yeah.
So my other favourite from growing up was Fright Night, and obviously that's because Roddy McDowell's character Peter Vincent, and just the campy kind of vampire horror. So I thought, let's just try out how Tom would feel about it, and instantly Tom, first time we spoke to him about it, was straight away, yeah, let's do it. So we've got a lot to thank Tom Holland for, really, because Tom literally, once he got involved, it snowballed like the rest of it. It was an easier project than Leviathan in terms of timescales, and also obviously having Tom on board, whereas obviously Clive was ill when we were doing Leviathan and couldn't be obviously involved. That made it a little bit more difficult, obviously, because it was hard to reach people, to kind of convince people who we were. Whereas with Fright Night, we already had Leviathan as a kind of a credibility kind of project. And then obviously we had Tom, so it was always going to be Fright Night in the end, I think.
Well, especially when you've seen the job you've done on Leviathan.
I looking back on Leviathan, man, I'm not Leviathan, sorry, I'm really proud of it, but I want to do something different with Fright Night. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. I think Leviathan was such a huge project, and we worked on it for so long. It kind of got massive, and it ended up being obviously 9 hours of documentary. And we've done a new edit of it for Arrow Film, which is about an hour and a half on the first one, 2 hours on the second one. So this is something completely different, really. I mean, obviously, it's got the format of a documentary style, but we tried to make it a little bit more compact and a little bit more kind of tighter and a bit more kind of flow to it on this one. Obviously, that includes Simon, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Well, who else can people expect to see in your interviews? Did you get all the cast on board?
Yeah, I mean, we've got everybody. The only person, obviously, we didn't get was Roddy, for obvious reasons. Obviously, passing away in 1998. The only other really kind of key person people will notice isn't in it is Tracy Lynn, who played Alex in Fright Night Part 2. And we approached Tracy, and she's been out of the business for about 10 years, 15 years, so she just didn't want to do, not any other reason other than, she's moved on with her life and doesn't want to be involved in, kind of films anymore, or looking back on the past, really.
That's understandable. A lot of people are like that who kind of left their acting careers behind.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have, and it's like, it's one of them things, we tried, we've gone back and forward, but people move on. People are in the industry for such a small amount of time. Then their lives change, their circumstances change, and they don't want to look back on what happened 20 years ago. And she's very pleasant, and we had contacts with other cast members who knew her, who tried as well. People have been asking about her, particularly on a lot of the threads on Facebook and other comments. And, it's one of the things. It's like with Leviathan. People we couldn't get, we tried every single avenue to get them, and sometimes you can't, unfortunately, and you've got to move on. You can't hang around waiting for people, because we'll be waiting for forever.
Well, then, when it comes to, is it difficult structuring your questions, because obviously you're wanting to get the best information you can for the documentary?
Yeah, I mean, Leviathan. I mean, when we were on Nicholas Lynch's chatting with Nicholas Lynch, we had a bit of a joke about it, because when Nick was our first interview for Leviathan. And what we did is we literally put the kitchen sink in. It was 25 pages of questions, 60 questions, and it was literally trying to cover every single area of the making of Hellraiser, because it was trying to cram as much in as possible. The problem you get then is you end up having a 3-hour interview with somebody who's got either a big part or a very small part on the project. Yeah. So with Fright Night, we very much tailored the questions to what that person's role was. I mean, it is interesting what people have an opinion. So somebody who was, say, the clapperboard loader, what their opinion might be on the makeup is a great, and it's insightful. But in the context of documentary, is it a priority to have that person talking about that instead of the makeup guys, or as well as makeup guys? And they'll get their part when it comes down to filming and and the constraints of filming. So with Fright Night, we really tailored it to people's specific roles, and we threw the extra question in it. Anything else you want to ask, you want to add, anything you want to tell us about? And some people did, some people did say things, and you'll find on productions is that you get an actress like Claire Higgins from Hellraiser, who everyone's going to go. She's got loads of things to say. She's absolutely, she's Julia Cotton. But when you ask her a question, she doesn't remember anything, because she went on set, did her scenes, and went home. Yeah. Whereas somebody who, someone like Clive Mackey, who was the clapper loader, going back to that, he's there all day. He's there on the whole entire set. So he might be able to throw a little bit extra stories in, which Claire couldn't. So it's kind of really catch-22, some of these interviews. But with structuring Fright Night, we really kept it compact and really tight this time. So, we did have some interviews that lasted an hour, 2 hours for him. I mean, Tom was 4 hours, his interview. And Tom, so I think you spoke to Tom before, haven't you, on here? And Tom was talking about things that are completely unrelated to Fright Night. So,
he's a great talker.
Yeah, he is a great. Trying to pencil that down. We've actually what is Fright Night and what is the legacy, other than having a bit of history on Tom, which is nice as well.
That was going to be my next question. You've so many interviews. I'd imagine the editing process is a nightmare, trying to get that narrative flow when you have so many hours to go through.
Yeah. Literally today, I've been in communication all day with Eastwood and Chris, who are doing the editing. We've got a new editor now, Eastwood Allen, who's actually working on the Ghostbusters documentary as well.
We were just talking about him the other week when I had them on the show.
Yeah, so, we had him first, and they poached him. But anyway, even worse. But he's a brilliant editor. So he's working on both projects at the same time. So he's got his hands full at the moment. But I've just been speaking to them literally today. They're working on condensing it down. We've got a 6-hour edit so far. Yeah. We want to get it down to about 4. We don't want it. We want it literally really tight. So they're going through now, looking at any repetitiveness and any kind of long pauses and cutting them up a little bit more. So it's a massive process for editing, and that's why when we estimate things are going to come out, with Leviathan we did it as well, and we tried to be a bit more clever on this one by saying it'd be out in February. We're filming in August, but then what happened naturally was we had more interviews which were outsourced, which came in January. So it's going to be, we've got a rough release date now for about June the 20th, and that's based on the schedule that Chris and Eastwood are working to, and obviously the production schedule as well. So I'm really excited what Eastwood's already shown us, and Chris, but they've got a lot of work ahead of them now. I mean, a hell of a lot of work.
They've the tough job.
Yeah, I mean, we edit in script format, basically. We transcribe all the interviews and we create a script, and that's obviously what they work from. So it's like anything, on paper it looks great, but obviously when you hear the people talking and how it fits, it has to be changed. So my edit was a 6-hour edit, which was on the paper, which I do that as the writer as well, and they take it away. So they got a massive, massive job.
But the other thing as well is, even though Leviathan is so long, like, it holds your attention the whole way through.
Oh, yeah.
You don't feel the time going when you're watching it because you're so engrossed.
I mean, the good thing is about Leviathan, I mean, I personally think it's long, but it is long. But we've only had, people have watched it and the reviews we've had literally 2 or 3 people, I think, who have criticised the length. Most people actually enjoy the length and say that they love watching it in sections. They can watch an hour here, then come back an hour later, and people seem to like that. So it's like anything when you produce things. It's it's hard to tell an audience what they want, because some people are saying one thing, other people are saying another, and it's kind of. And I know some people have watched bootleg versions online of Leviathan, where they only got the first half of it, and they're going, they don't even mention Hellraiser 2, because you download it illegally and haven't got this 2. That's why.
Go and buy it.
Yeah, go and buy it. Yeah, I mean, it's $12.99 now. It's on sale. So it's hard to please everybody. I like documentaries. I watched that Making a Murderer. That's 10 hours. And I really enjoyed that. And you can watch that in sections. So I think people have been quite clever with it, and watching it in pre-production, casting, makeup, and watching those bits and then coming back to it later, and that seems to work for quite a lot of people.
Well, then we talked about Simon Bamford. He plays Peter Vincent in the documentary. He does an amazing job. He is so like him in it. How did that come about for you? Well,
I mean, he's amazing. I've got to give him his credit where it's due. He's an actor who, and there's no disrespect to Simon. Obviously me and Simon spoke about this before, that in Hellraiser he's iconic, but he's a guy in a latex suit, which doesn't get as an actor, he's quite restricted what he can do in that kind of thick latex and the screen time. This guy is a professional, he's a pro, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves really as an actor. So, we didn't really know that until actually having him on set as Peter. I'll rewind a little bit now, that when we did Leviathan, we had Oliver Smith, who played Frank, doing our narration, because Oliver is quite famous in the UK for doing Sky Movies narration and that kind of stuff. So he's, that's his job. He's a voiceover artist now. So he was gracious enough to obviously come on board Leviathan. But we thought, do we want another narrator on Brewster? And if so, who would narrate it? It'd be hard to, you need somebody here in the UK, because once the edit's done, that's when narration starts normally in that kind of process. Yeah. So it would have been difficult, we get somebody who is not involved in Fright Night, it's going to be quite strange, where obviously Oliver Smith is 2 birds with 1 stone, he's a voiceover artist, and he's out of Frank and Mr. Browning, so that was perfect. Yeah. So I had an idea that, Peter Vincent is a TV host. We see very short glimpses of that in Fright Night and Fright Night Part 2. What if we had an actor playing Peter Vincent in a mock-up TV studio, really cheesy, really crappily done, with crappy sets and, and drawn paper moons and that kind of stuff. And we had him actually hosting the show in segments, as if you were tuning into a TV show. He presents one part, and then obviously the narrative structure of the interviews come up. So we all agreed to that, and then the next step was, let's try and find somebody who looks like Peter Vincent and also can act. So I went on to all these lookalike agencies, and really, really kind of annoyingly, when I emailed them saying, have you got any Roddy McDowall lookalikes, I'd say 90% of them responded saying, who is Roddy McDowall. How can you not know who Roddy McDowall is?
Exactly.
Especially as a British, we're Brits, and these are companies in the UK or look like agencies. He's like one of our biggest exports and the most famous export, and they don't know who he is. So that was straight away, a no-no. And me and Chris were talking, and I said, who do we know who looks like Peter? Even friends, who we knew. And then I said, hang on a minute, I think Simon Bamford actually looks a bit like him. So I went online, I put Simon's picture next to Roddy McDowall, and I said, yeah, he does look a lot like him. So straight away, I emailed Simon and said, Simon, would you be up for playing Roddy McDowall / Peter Vincent for documentary? And he went, straight away reply, funny enough, when I was younger, people used to say I look like Roddy McDowall. I went, perfect. So he was on board straight away. The next stage was, I thought, let's make him look even more like him. So I engaged Stuart Conran then. And I said to Stuart Conran, do you think you can make Simon Bamford look like Peter Vincent? And he said, yes, I could. I'll get back to you. So within the next 20 minutes, I posted on our Facebook page, we have a host, Peter Vincent, Roddy McDowall, makeup by Stuart. Stuart messaged me and said, I haven't said yes yet. And I went, well, I knew you would. So that's how we got Stuart. And Stuart was brilliant. Stuart got an actual live cast of Roddy McDowall from Fright Night, which was made, and took the nose and the chin and the cheeks and made prosthetics out of those and put them on Simon. So actually Simon is actually wearing Roddy McDowall's actual nose and chin, which is just amazing in itself. Wow. And obviously when I'm answering this question really long now, so I apologise.
Oh, you're all right. We've loads of time.
Yeah, but when Simon, obviously we sent Simon a script, we got a great writer called Neil Morris, who really got the kind of style of Peter Vincent in the writing for those segments. We got Simon up. We booked the studio. I've got the makeup sorted with Stuart. The night before shooting the first scene, we hadn't really seen him act as Peter at this stage. We had a screening of Leviathan in London. He came charging towards us saying, welcome to Fright Night. And I thought, well, he's got that right. So a few months later, obviously, he was at my house, and the wig was obviously here because the costume was here. And he said, can I have a look at the wig? I says, yeah. Anyway, he walked out the living room and I took the wig with him. We were all chatting. We were about to go out for a meal. We're all chatting away, myself, Chris, Terence, who was our cinematographer, and Adam. And then suddenly Simon walks in with a wig on, and we all lit the hairs in the back of our necks stood on end. It was just amazing that and he did the voice, and it was Roddy McDowall in front of us. And he didn't have the nose or the chin. It was just him in the wig, and it was spooky. I went to bed that night knowing he was going to be good.
His eyes, especially. He has the eyes.
Yeah. What Simon did, he took clips from Fright Night and condensed them all together of all the Peter Vincent's clips, and he studied those on his iPad. And when we saw him a few months before at a convention we were at as well, he had it next to him. He had all the Peter Vincent's clips, and he was practicing. Whilst obviously in between people getting his signature, he was practicing it. But the guy, when he stood on set and he had the wig, the makeup, and the costume, sometimes you'd sit there and I'm a Roddy McDowall fan. You'd look quick and you'd be like, oh my God, it's Roddy McDowall. Yeah. And the feedback we've had as well, I was worried, thinking, what people are going to say. And I'm still worried about it now, obviously, when Doc comes out, because, Roddy McDowall's such an iconic person and actor, and so is Peter as a character. What's opinion going to be? But, Tom Holland was just gobsmacked when he saw it. And Judy Carmen and William Ragsdale, Stephen Jeffries, Amanda Burst, they were like, my life back is Roddy McDowall, back from the dead.
Then you've also made some special trailers with Simon as Peter Vincent for your bonus features.
Yeah. Well, that came about because you know Fright Night, and I'm sure the people listening to this know Fright Night. But Roddy McDowall's character, Peter Vincent, was supposed to be a kind of corny, campy horror star of the 1960s, probably late 50s and 70s, who lost his career and ended up being a host on cable TV. So we knew obviously that character had a backstory and a catalogue of films. So we thought, got his great makeup already, and obviously how good Simon was acting. Let's, as a bonus feature for the fans, make some fake trailers. So we wrote some, and obviously Neil did as well, our writer. And we ended up making 4: The Werewolf from Moldavia, Psychedelic Death, Resurrection of Dracula, and I Rip Your Jugular. And that also features Nicholas Vince, yes, as Christopher Cushing, who then plays, obviously, the vampire, Count Vlad, and also plays Dr. Malahide, who fans of Harry's will know, Dr. Malahide was originally Dr. Chenard's name. He plays Dr. Malahide in Werewolf in Moldavia. So yeah, he's just brilliant, and it was such a laugh doing it. And we just said, be campy, be fun, be crap, you know, be as cheesy as possible.
Yeah, and that's what they were like. So.
Yeah. And that was the first time they'd actually worked together since Nightbreed.
Oh,
so you know, bringing them two together on the set, it was all green screen set, and bring them together and acting together in 26 years, sorry. It was amazing for us to watch them two obviously act together.
And they're just the nicest people. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
I spent the other weekend there with them at Screenvention.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just so nice.
Yeah, we were supposed to be going to Screenvention, and we were all ready to go. But obviously, Fright Night edit, and we had to prioritise. And in the end, it was, you know, can we afford to lose a weekend away, as much as we wanted to go, and obviously, and put ourselves a week behind, because people. Chris obviously is a producer at a TV station, so Chris works in the week. Eastwood's a editor full time, and also we obviously Ghostbusters as well at the moment.
Yeah.
The weekends are precious to getting these this edit done. So I was so gutted we couldn't go. It looked like a great time as well. And obviously having Simon, Nick, and Barbie there as well.
Which there's always next year.
Yeah, there's always next year. Yeah.
Exactly. And then a shock and true crime case derailed Fright Night 3 from ever happening. Yeah. Could you share that story for those listeners who may have not heard it before?
Yeah, watch the documentary. No. Well, basically what happened is, in 1988, when Fright Night 2 was made, it was sold to a distribution company with a chap who owned it called Jose Menendez. And Jose was the kind of the head of a company called Carleco Pictures, I think it was called. I can't pronounce it right because my pronunciation is rubbish anyway in the best of times. But anyway, it was a distribution company, and they were handling the distribution of Fright Night Part 2 and also potentially the making of Fright Night Part 3 as well. Menendez was apparently quite a nice guy, and he had met with Tommy Lee Wallace and Roddy McDowall one morning, because Roddy McDowall was quite unhappy about how the film was being handled with regards to release, because he wasn't planning to have a big release, Part 2 wasn't. So Roddy, obviously being a fan of the genre and obviously also loving the character of Peter Vincent, wasn't very happy, you know, and everyone has real positive stories like Roddy, but he went in there and had this meeting and said, you know, you've got to handle this release properly. So they had words that day, and obviously Tommy Lee Wallace was there as well. Anyway, the next morning, Tommy Lee Wallace wakes up, and the news headline is that Jose Menendez has been murdered along with his wife by his two sons, sorry. Straight away, virtually instantly, the phone rings, and Tommy Lee Wallace answers it, and before the person on the other line says anything else, all he hears is, I didn't do it, did you? And that was Roddy. So he was like, you know, the morning they met, Jose Menendez, that evening he was murdered. But so basically he was murdered by his two sons. And, you know, that was a massive kind of crime investigation in the States. And there was all kind of talks about, they said that their dad had molested them and all this kind of stuff all come out in the courts, but they went down for it in the end. And ultimately that was the reason why Fright Night Part 2 didn't get the release it deserved. It only went to a handful of theatres, hasn't been released on DVD or Blu-ray, and that's why Fright Night Part 3 was ended. It was starting production. Tom Holland was going to be back involved in it again. So was obviously Roddy, and it just went, and that's the reason why. So the Menendez brothers basically destroyed not only their family, but also Fright Night legacy as well.
Jesus, it's such a tragic story, my God.
It is, yeah, and we cover it in the documentary. Obviously, we handle it, you know, quite sensitively, and Simon, even on his kind of intros, wanted to handle that sensitive as well, because obviously his intros are quite funny and quirky, but that one he wanted to, you know, at the end of the day, no matter what happened and the reasons behind it, which we're not sure of into this day, somebody lost their life, you know, two people, and you know, and it is important part of the Fright Night legacy. Really, it's a massive part of the legacy and why it all ended. So we have covered that, you know, and it's handled sensitively, but obviously it has to be, because it's there for a reason, and it's an important part, as I said.
Well then, for both of your documentaries, you ran very successful Kickstarter campaigns. You see so many people try and fail when crowdfunding a project. What do you think is the key to running a successful campaign and reaching your target?
You know what? I think it's really hard. I genuinely think. I mean, I was watching the Ghostbusters guys do it the other day, and I was speaking to the chap who's behind it, and I really didn't think it was going to make it in the end. I did, that last day, they still had about $8 or $9 grand to go. They wanted obviously a lot more than we wanted because they've got obviously deals with Sony and stuff like that. I don't know, to be honest. I think it's so hard to do. You've got to be on it full time. You've got to be on it 24/7. You've got to have people who have got a lot of reach as well, because people like Tom obviously made it massive difference to us, because Tom was obviously posting about it, so with the cast and crew. So that makes a big... There's already an audience there already. And obviously having something like Fright Night and Hellraiser was already an audience there. But I do feel that nowadays people... I mean, when Kickstarter first came out, you could raise 200 grand making an omelette, and it was quite easy to do, and it was quite a kind of niche kind of thing to do, quite a quirky thing to do as well. Kickstarter campaigns were, and now I think because there's so many of them, people are reluctant to be involved in them a little bit. So where you think, oh, I've got a massive project, you know, we're going to raise loads of money. We only raise the money we need. We don't go above and beyond. We know what our budget is, and we plan it to the letter. So we know if we don't get that, we are pretty much screwed, to be honest, because we are independent. So I think, you know, to be successful, one, make sure you know exactly how much you need, and obviously make sure you can cover your costs of Kickstarter, because Kickstarter do take a lump sum off you as well, percentage, and it's quite a substantial amount they take. So make sure you have enough what you need. Make sure you don't have to go back for any more. Make sure you've got great incentives, and also you've got a lot of support as well. I mean, we went to some of the big horror kind of magazines and stuff as well to support us, you know, getting the word out. And obviously they want paying, you know, they want $400, $500, and you're kind of thinking the whole point of doing this Kickstarter is to raise funds. I can't afford to pay, you know, $500,000 to promote it. You know, are you going to get it back in return? We don't know. So I think it's so difficult. I think it's getting harder and harder and harder. But then you see other ones that are out. I mean, that new Star Trek fan-made film, which is having loads of problems at the moment with Paramount, who are trying to put a stop to it. They made over $1 million on that. You know, so you can make the money there. There's this Frank Zappa film by Alex Winter, who's from Bill and Ted and Lost Boys. He wants $500,000. He's already made $250,000 in 3 days. And then other people who I know have done campaigns who have really, really tried, haven't made a penny. So it's such a weird... It's getting that audience. It's cracking that kind of social media marketing and getting it out there. We've been lucky twice. We've actually had one that failed. We were going to do a documentary on Don Kaufer, who's a friend of ours. He's a very kind of niche actor. You know, he's a character actor who is one of a recognisable face from the 80s. But we needed £8,000. We raised just over $1,000. So
I'd say it's such a stressful process.
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, I was stressed out for the Ghostbusters guys. I mean, I was looking thinking, you know, come on.
Oh.
They're getting so far. So it's weird. I mean, we're working on another project at the moment, which we should be announcing in the next month. And we're going to have, you know, we're going to go and Kickstarter again. So I know that stress is going to happen to us all over again now.
That part of it you won't be looking forward to.
No, I don't like that part. It's hard. Because I had a guy who's quite funny who commented that we released the new poster and the DVD art as well, Blu-ray art, the other day on Facebook for You Also Call Brewster. And one guy commented and said, what was the point of me pledging on the Kickstarter when anybody can now just pre-order it? I thought, well, that's a strange comment. So I don't normally respond to negative ones. And I responded and said, if you didn't support that project on Kickstarter, it would never have happened.
Yeah. So
we appreciate that. You get a thanks on the documentary for that. You get your thanks in the credits. You know, if people are thinking, I'm not going to bother supporting it, I'll wait for it to come out and buy it, don't do that, please. Just support the projects when they actually need that support. I mean, it's paid for now, Fright Night is, you know, to a degree. So we can sell it, and obviously that's one thing, but when we needed the support from the fans was back when we was doing the Kickstarter. So if you have that kind of feeling, I'll just wait until it comes out anyway. No, do it when you can. Do it on a Kickstarter, and also you get the extra perks as well. You get your name on it, which is a big thing. You get the posters, you get the kind of stuff. So you know, I'd encourage people to do that as well.
Sure, I was all excited seeing my name on the Hellraiser documentary.
Yeah, I mean, I would be. You know, I remember when I wrote More Brains: A Return to the Living Dead. I already wrote the book 5 years before, But I remember seeing my name on that as written by. I mean, I was like so excited.
Yeah.
Even though I spent a year and a half doing it, I just see my name on a DVD for the first ever time. It was just amazing. And, it is something to be proud of. And even if you contribute a few quid and your name's on it, you should be proud of that. If you love that film, that franchise, and that whole world, and you're part of it, then you are. You've helped create something. Exactly. So it's important, I think, really important.
Well, you said there earlier, is it the 20th of June you said for the release?
Yeah, at the moment from the scheduling, we're looking at about the 20th or 27th. We should have either on Monday the 20th or Monday the 27th, it should be ready to ship. And we're looking at about maybe late May for the Peter Vincent action figure as well, which is coming out. Okay. Yeah, well, that's our dates at the moment. So it's literally Eastwood and Chris are spending all their time on it at the moment. Once that edit is done, obviously it needs to be reviewed back and forward, and the animation is pull on, and there's music, and then it goes straight to the printers there and gets done. Yeah, just fingers crossed. The moment everything's ticking over nicely. I can't see anything popping up which is going to make a difference, but you never know these things.
Well, then, when it is released, where can people purchase it from?
It can be purchased like Leviathan. It will be directly from cultscreenings.co.uk. Straight from that site. It's just easier for us, obviously, as an independent. And also, for fans who want to buy it signed by Tom will have a limited number of the Blu-rays himself, which should be sold via Terror Time. And obviously, they'll be signed by Tom as well. And that's the same with the action figure as well. Will be through Cult Screens, and he'll have some as well, which he'll sign. So it'll be those two avenues. I mean, we've looked at Amazon, and Amazon, to be honest, and excuse my French, it's just a ball ache. It really is. And also, the percentage they take as well for doing virtually nothing, really. Yeah. They take a massive amount. And as a small, very independent company like ours, anything that comes back in goes back out again, and that's happened. And when all of what came in for Hellraiser for the sales went back out again straight away. So we've got to make sure we can retain our ownership over it as well.
Well, it'd be really cool to get a Blu-ray signed by Tom Holland of it. I think I'd be doing that myself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely. Hopefully, our next project which we're working on, we should be back over in the States in the summer. So I'm going to hook up with Tom straight away and get him to do some signings and that kind of stuff for us. But it'd be nice because the documentary would only been out about a month, so it'd be nice maybe do some kind of launch over there or something with him and the cast.
What Facebook page should people follow you on to keep up to date with your next project?
Dead Mouse Productions and Cult Screenings. Obviously, Cult Screenings is our company, and Dead Mouse Productions is our production element of that company, which makes the documentaries. So, Dead Mouse Productions, all Cult Screenings. We should make an announcement very soon. We're just working on some logistics and some key personnel, but I'm really excited for this one as well. And it's one of the things, it's quite, because of timescales, I'm having to pass over Bruce now to Chris and Eastwood. Me and Adam now working on the next one, getting that pre-production started. So it's just busy. And also we've got the trucks and book, Return of the Living Dead. That's shipping in April. That's coming over now. We've got another book which is going to be announced in a few weeks. I'm working with another author, which Dead Mouse Productions is producing. We've got Leviathan coming out as a coffee table book later on in the year. And obviously Brewster will come out as a book as well, about 6 months after the DVD comes out. So, lots going on at the moment.
Well, I tell you, me and you just seem to have all the same favourite horror movies, so I'm just really, really excited to see what the next project is now. I'll be watching the page like a hawk.
Yeah, the one thing I can say is we are moving a little bit away from horror. It is still probably deemed as horror, but it's 80s, I can tell you that. Yeah. It's definitely mid-80s, and it's an iconic film, but it's a different kind of horror, more with social commentary and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to this one. And we're going for a different angle as well regards to this documentary. We're looking at the actual cultural impact it's had, as opposed to, I mean, it's still going to be obviously making of it with key cast and crew, but it's looking at kind of the impact it's had and how it was perceived when it came out and how it's perceived now. So it's going to be more kind of investigative, kind of a doc, which I'm quite looking forward to, a little kind of change in style.
Oh, excellent. That'd be fun to make.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
Well, listen, Gary, thanks so much for joining me in the show. I can't wait to see the documentary, and no doubt I'll be calling you up to come on again for the next project.
Yeah, sure you will, yeah. Yeah, thank you for your support as well. So I think you were the first interviews we did for Leviathan, and we got a lot of good feedback from that as well. So I appreciate you showing your support and obviously having us back on today as well.
Oh, no problem at all, Gary. Thanks so much.
Okay, cheers.
The Crypt interviews in association with Mayo Legend Point Castle Bar.